It's funny, we don't often think about it, but our entire world, our societies, our economies, even how we see ourselves, it's all built on a kind of invisible scaffolding. It's an architecture, but it's not made of steel or concrete. It's made of ideas, of concepts.
And this quote right here, it just gets to the absolute heart of it. These concepts, they're the blueprints for our shared reality. It's kind of like a software that lets millions, even billions of us work together on these incredibly complex things, all using just a few shared words.
I mean, just think about the sheer power packed into a single word like nation. It's an idea that can literally move armies and build monuments.
Or what about a word like debt? It's a concept that can shape a person's entire life and entire economy, but you can't touch it. You can't hold it in your hand.
And ownership. Such a simple idea, right? But it's what lets us organize everything from a tiny patch of land to a massive global company. It creates all this order and structure. And heck, even a concept as basic as tomorrow. It's this unspoken agreement we all have that lets us plan and hope and build for a future that doesn't exist yet. So yeah, this architecture is powerful. It is absolutely essential.
But that leads to a really critical question, doesn't it? What happens when these foundational concepts, these blueprints, start to buckle under pressure? What if the blueprints themselves are actually flawed? And that's where we find the real problem. There's a fundamental glitch in our conceptual architecture. It's a problem that pops up when our ideas move from one context to another. It's a problem of shifting scale.
This glitch even has a name, scale failure. And what that really means is it's the mistake we make when we assume a word means the same thing no matter the context. But see, concepts aren't these rigid, unchanging blocks. Oh no. When they travel from a single person to a huge population, or from right now to a long historical trend, their meaning can stretch, it can fracture, or sometimes it can even flip completely on its head. Okay, let's make this real. Take the word warm. On the left, if you say, "This room is warm," you're talking about a direct, personal, physical feeling. But on the right, when we say the climate is warming, we're describing a long-term statistical pattern across the entire planet. See? Two totally different scales. And when you confuse them, you get these flawed arguments, like thinking one cold day somehow disproves a global trend.
Here's another great one, trust. In a friendship, trust is this intimate, emotional thing. It's a bond. But when we talk about trusting a system, like a government agency or a bank, we're not talking about feelings at all. We mean systemic reliability, standardized procedures, things being predictable. The word is the same, but the meaning has completely transformed across those scales.
And this is how scale failure creates so many arguments where people are just talking past each other. Look at the idea of violence. One person can point to a horrible individual act. It's an undeniable tragic event. And at the same time, another person can point to data showing a long-term statistical decrease in violence. The thing is, both of them are correct. They're just operating at two completely different and valid scales.
When we keep running into these scale failures over and over, we can start to feel something called conceptual vertigo. It's that unsettling, dizzying feeling you get when the mental maps you grew up with just don't seem to fit the world you're looking at anymore. It's a big flashing sign that your map is outdated.
So, if our inherited mental architecture is buggy, what do? We need a new set of tools. We need like a personal operating system for clarity. And that's exactly where a framework called the 4DP comes in.
The core idea here is to make a shift. Instead of just being a passive resident living in someone else's conceptual world, the invitation is for you to become the active architect of your own. It's about consciously building an internal structure for your mind that's resilient, that's clear, and that's custom-built for the crazy complexity we all face.
So what does this new architecture look like? Well, it rests on 4 pillars. You can think of them as the foundational principles for building a much more stable internal blueprint for yourself. Target, truth, totally, and title.
First up, target. This is all about having a clear aim, a clear direction. But listen, this is not a rigid, step-by-step plan that just shatters the second things change. It's more like a destination you've plugged into your GPS. It's a clear goal that allows you to be flexible and adaptive on the journey. You know your why, and that lets you change the how whenever you need to.
Second is truth. And this one, well, this is the bedrock. It's a deep commitment to seeing reality exactly as it is, not how we wish it was.
This means being radically honest with yourself about which scale you're actually operating on. Are you talking about the personal feeling or the planetary pattern? And then acknowledging that both can be real at the same time.
Third, we have totally. This pillar is all about embracing complexity. It's about resisting that powerful urge to just collapse a huge messy reality into a single simple label. A person isn't just their job title, a country isn't just its politics. This is about making a real commitment to seeing all the layers, the whole, rich, complex picture.
And that brings us to our final pillar, title. This one's subtle, but it is so powerful. It's about how we use labels. It's the practice of naming things so we can be clear, but without letting those names become permanent cages. It means seeing roles like manager or states like failure as temporary conditions, not who you are forever.
Okay, so that's the framework. But how does this new architecture actually help us with that problem of scale failure we started with? Let's connect the dots and see how these tools directly fight back against that conceptual vertigo.
This chart is basically your cheat sheet. Let's walk through it. When you see that classic confusion where a statistical pattern is mistaken for a person, that's where the pillar of truth comes in, reminding you to honor the individual reality. When you hear a big abstraction like the economy being talked about like it's a person, the market decides, the totally pillar prompts you to see all the complex human systems behind that one label. And when a category like underperformer threatens to become a fixed identity, title is the tool that helps you see it as just a temporary role, not some final verdict.
So when you start putting all this together, you really do move from being confused by all these shifting concepts to actively navigating them. And this isn't just some neat intellectual trick. It's a genuine superpower for thinking clearly in a very, very complicated world.
And that, right there, is the most crucial takeaway. Scale literacy really is an ethical superpower. It's not just about being smarter or winning an argument, it's about being more humane. It gives us the ability to see those big, important patterns without letting those huge abstractions completely erase the reality of the individual person standing right in front of us.
So I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. What concept in your life needs a scale check? Think about your work, your relationships, how you see the world. What part of your own conceptual architecture is maybe, just maybe, ready for an upgrade?